Good morning, students. Today we will continue with the speckled bands. In the previous class, we have already learned that Helen Stoner pays them a visit one morning in desperate need of their help. She was in need of the help from Sherlock Holmes. She has already started narrating the story, and the story, as learned before, is that Helen's stepfather, Dr. Grimsby Roylott, is the sole remaining descendant of an old family whose fortune has been slowly reduced to nearly nothing after generations of waste and gambling. Helen's mother died and Roylott moved back into his family's Stockmoran Manor along with Helen and her twin sister Julia, all of them living in adjacent bedrooms in the building's one inhabitable wing. Mrs. Stoner had left an inheritance to Roylott with a stipulation that should her daughters get married, they would receive an annual income from this fund. However, 2 years ago, Helen tells Holmes and Watson, her sister had got engaged. Shortly thereafter, Julia told Helen that she began to hear a sound, and what she could then see is that her sister had died. And just a little while ago, when Helen was just narrating this story, Sherlock tells her if she could be precise with details, to which Helen responds and says that isn't difficult. That terrible night has been burned into my memory. Now, the manor is very old and we only live in one part of it. The 3 bedrooms we occupy are on the ground floor. The first is Dr. Roylott's. Next to that was of my sister's, and then is mine. There are no doors that connect the rooms internally. However, they all open out to the same corridor. Their windows look out on the lawn. The night my sister died, she was in my room. We chatted till about 11 o'clock. Then, when she was leaving my room, she asked me, Helen, have you ever heard anyone whistle in the middle of the night? I had not. That night I couldn't sleep. Helen goes on to narrate the story, and then she says that there was a terrible storm. Quite late, I heard my sister scream. I ran out immediately. As soon as I opened my door, I heard a low whistle, just like Julia had. Then a clanging sound, as if something metallic had fallen. I ran down the corridor to Julia's room and saw that her door was open. I didn't know what to expect. Helen goes on to narrate, saying that she found her standing near the door, and her face was white with fear. I ran to her, and as I did, she fell to the ground. I could tell she was in terrible pain, but I do not know why. She looked at me in horror and said, "Helen, it was the speckled band," and then fainted. I rushed to get my stepfather, but neither of us could revive her. She died shortly after. Helen narrates this entire incident of how her sister died. And as Sherlock Holmes reaches and starts the investigation with asking Helen to visit the place where they were living, that is, at the manor. Miss Stoner continued, "I'm here, Mr. Holmes, because I'm afraid for my life. It has been 2 lonely years since Julia died. A month ago, a dear old friend, Percy Armitage, asked me to marry him. We shall be married this spring. However, 2 days ago, my stepfather started some renovation work on the wall outside my bedroom. Due to this, I have been forced to move into Julia's old room. Imagine, Mr. Holmes, my terror when I heard a low whistle in the middle of last night. I lit a lamp immediately but found nothing. I waited till dawn and crept out of the house as soon as I could, and now here I am." She asks both of them for help, and then she asks a question: "Is there a way for Watson and myself to come to Stockmorton? I would like to examine these rooms without your stepfather finding out." Quite coincidentally, Dr. Roylott had told Miss Stoner he would be in town on an important business that very day. Our visitor planned to run some errands, then go home in the noon train. We would meet her shortly after. After our visitor left, we sat discussing the case. We both proposed theories, all of which seemed improbable. That is, not likely to be true or to happen. After breakfast, Sherlock went out. He returned around 1 o'clock with news. "I have seen the late Mrs. Stoner's will. It seems her funds have gone down. When our Miss Stoner gets married and claims her share, Dr. Roylott won't be left with much. It seems clear that he has a motive to harm her. Wouldn't you say? Now there isn't a moment to lose." Watson goes on to narrate that we were on our way shortly, and some hours later we were walking distance from Stockmorton. We found Miss Stoner waiting for us by the road, probably to lead them to the Stockmorton. She was very pleased that both Sherlock Holmes and myself had arrived so soon. First, Holmes wanted to examine the wall outside Miss Stoner's room, especially that wall which was being repaired. He concluded that there was no real need to repair the wall in the first place. Indeed, I believe it was an excuse to move me from my room, is what Miss Stoner said. Next, he made the lady go to her sister's room and lock the windows. After carefully examining those, both Sherlock Holmes and myself realized that there was no way to enter the room through the windows. Then both of us went inside. In Julia's old room, Holmes sat in a chair and silently surveyed every little detail. And as his observation is so good, he finally pointed to a thick bell rope. This bell rope is a rope that is pulled to ring a doorbell or a bell to summon staff in old-fashioned homes. This, Miss Stoner told us, had been installed just a few years ago. To her knowledge, however, Julia had never asked for it to be installed. In fact, she had never used it. Well, what an unnecessary bell, Holmes said, giving it a tug. Well, it is a fake, he exclaimed. It is not even connected to a wire. Look up there. It is joined to a hook just above that ventilator. This, we all agreed, was very strange. Stranger still was the fact that the ventilator did not open out of the lawn. Instead, it opened out to the next room. Dear students, we will continue in the next video and understand finally what investigations Sherlock Holmes has done. Thank you.